Well, a week from now is election day. And I know a lot of us by now have heard what the news outlets, either through cable, over the air, radio, online, podcast, whatever you want to call them, we've all heard what they've had to say. So many people have voted already, record numbers. This is what the poll numbers say one way or the other. And that's fine. We've also heard that a lot of the people that support both candidates have basically said that when it comes to the polls, and I mentioned this yesterday in my live stream, Topics on My Mind live stream, aka also a podcast on my BW Rosas discussions, we've also heard that people that support both candidates are in their camp, and even the candidates themselves have said, don't believe what the polls say, they don't really matter. Because a lot of them have said that the polls are nothing more than popularity polls. They're nothing more than favor polls, state polls, popularity polls, whatever you want to call them. They're basically all that and more. And that you shouldn't take them seriously. That the one thing you should take seriously and make an account for, I should say, is your vote. And again, you hear all these news outlets coming out and saying, so many people have voted in record numbers. So many people have voted in record numbers here and there. But what they fail to mention, at least until the middle portion or even the end portion of their reporting or their interviews or whatever, the one thing that they don't mention until a later time is election day. Because election day is the day where the vote will really count. And if history has shown us anything, a candidate could be down right now in the eyes of a lot of people, especially those that want him or her to be down for the count. But when come election day, all of a sudden they rise back up and knock and make a huge comeback and basically shock the world, if you know what I mean. And if election day has proven anything, whether it's for electing a president or electing a state governor or mayor, whatever the case may be, we all know that election day is the day where the vote really counts. Because that's the day that people come out in drones, if not armies, to the polling places to cast their vote. Because they don't trust the voting system to register or make a count of the vote earlier if they do it early. I mean, especially when you have reports going around that ballots and votes for, both candidates are being tossed into rivers, burned and all that, because the people running the polling place don't like you voting for this candidate or for that candidate. And when you, of all people, hear something like that, of course you're going to be on edge. Of course you're going to be wanting to not go out and cast your vote early, I should say, knowing that could happen. You're going to want to wait till the very day of election day to do it. If not the day before, if not the weekend before, you're going to want to go out and cast your vote. Now, here's the thing. This election, no matter what the outcome's going to be, is going to be mired in controversy. We know it. We all know it's going to be mired in controversy. And the thing is, we may not get a true result until the end of the year. We may not get a true result. But either way you look at it, I think we can all agree that no matter who's elected or re-elected, we're going to get, depending on your viewpoint, we're going to get a controversial figure as the leader of our country. We are. We are going to get a controversial figure, as the leader of our country. Along with a controversial, and depending on your viewpoint, vice president at their side. And it's basically, as the old saying goes, it's a win-win, it's a win-lose, lose-win situation. Because, if you are for Trump, it's a win-lose because you win with him becoming president, but you may lose with the Senate and the House being democratically controlled. And again, going back to Trump, it's also a lose-win because if Trump's not elected and Biden is, that's the losing part. But the win part, is, hey, you possibly have the House and the Senate Republically owned or Republically controlled. So whatever decision Biden wants to try to do, he can't do. He can't do without going through them, and vice versa. And if you're a supporter of Biden, hey, it's a win-lose for you. You win if Biden becomes a president, but you lose if it's Republically run. And it's a lose-win if he loses the presidency, but you win if the House and the Senate is democratically run. So it's either way. It's either way when you look at it. Win, lose, lose, win. But like I said, at the end of the day, and depending on how long this goes for, you're going to have a controversial figure as president, whether you like it or you don't, along with their VPs, depending on your viewpoint. But let's take a look at the possibilities here. Let's say Joe Biden wins. I was just recently watching some clips on the Yahoo Finance, thanks to the MSN, Internet Microsoft Edge homepage. I was just watching an MSN video clip of a Yahoo Finance interview that was done with somebody, I think that's in Washington, that's close to the Biden campaign, or at least close to the electoral situation as we speak on both ends. And he basically stated that if Biden wins, that the first 2 years of his presidency are going to be controversial, if not basically a civil war. And we're not talking a civil war like back in the 1800s or anything like that. No. We're talking an in-house democratical, easy for me to say, a democratical civil war. That's basically what the guy said. That in the first 2 years of Biden's presidency, should he win, you're going to have an in-house democratical civil war because there's going to be people campaigning to be part of his cabinet. People that feel that they're the right ones for the job. And there are some people that are looked at as radical left-wingers that would want to vie for that position because they want to have that power, they want to have that say, they want to have that influence. And then there are others that may support what Biden wants to do and may even be more, sensible and knowledgeable about what's going on, and even give advice to Biden to be like, look, you said you're going to be a president of the American people, whether the Democrat, whether or not the Democrat or Republican, you have to start showing that. You have to make decisions that maybe even us Democrats may not agree with. So that's what this guy was kind of alluding to, that it's going to be a democratical civil war during the first 2 years of Biden's run if he wins. And I wouldn't be surprised by that. Now, when you look at Trump, you can't tell me that people in his cabinet are not like saying, hey, you said you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you have to start proving it, you have to live up to that, you have to continue that, what have you. So, again, either way, you're going to have, like I said, either way, depending on the situation, you're going to have a controversial figure as president over the next 4 years, along with the vice president. And you can't tell me for a fact that whatever candidate doesn't win, that vice president is not going to focus their eyes on becoming president in 2024. You can't tell me that, because they will. Every vice president, and this includes the guy that's running right now, Joe Biden, has always wanted to take that next step because they feel they're ready. You can't tell me that if Trump doesn't win, which a lot of people are predicting he's going to, because Election Day is the day where things could be decided right off the bat, that if he doesn't win, you can't tell me Pence isn't going to be the one to step up and say, I'm going to run, I'm throwing my name in for the 2024 election. Because he will. You can't tell me that Harris, if Biden doesn't win, won't decide, hey, I'm going to throw my hat back in for the 2024 election as well. Because she will. So, the fact of the matter is this. At the end of the day, at the end of Election Day, which is the day that is the most important, despite all the other votes that have been cast, And by the way, have we noticed they have not said who some of these people voted for? That's a surprise factor. They have not come out and said, oh, well, this many people voted for Trump and this many people voted for Biden already. You notice they haven't said that? It's because they know that election day is the primary day when it all has to be accounted for. It has to all come into place. And I guarantee that just like before, election day will prove to be the D-Day of this country when it comes to our next leader. Now, again, as I mentioned, could it be a mired in controversy? Absolutely. We have a new Supreme Court, we have a new Justice Supreme Court, or a new Supreme Justice, if you will, in this Amy Barnett. You can't tell me, because of her support for Trump and him supporting her, that she won't probably look into this right away after Election Day and think, something just doesn't seem right. I want to double check this. I want to double fact this. Because she will. She will do it. In fact, a lot of articles, whether you believe them or not, are coming out and saying that she could be the deciding factor. That she could be the one that definitely makes sure that this election, at the end of the day, depending on how long it takes, is done right. You know, it's done right and it's done correctly. You can't tell me that she won't do that, because she will. And this is one time I have to agree with the articles and what they're reporting, because she could be the deciding outcome at the end of the day. But what I'm getting at, folks, is this. You can hear all the reports you want. You can have all the outlets say this many votes have been cast. This is what the polls say. But at the end of the day, Election Day is the primary day. It is the day that counts the most. It is the day that matters the most. It's kind of like, as crazy as it sounds, it's kind of like Christmas. You could say, oh, well, we're going to open our presents on Christmas Eve and then just go celebrate the rest on Christmas Day. And then whatever presents are there, we'll open them then too. It's a tradition to open presents on Christmas Day in many households. So even if you open them on Christmas Eve, that's fine. That's your decision. But the primary day to do it is Christmas Day. That's the day. And the same could be said for Election Day here. That this is the day that's going to really count the most. So that's all I really wanted to say, guys. Let me know what you all think down below. Comment if you like. I know I may have sounded like I rambled, went all over the place, but I just wanted to get this off my chest and let you know, in my opinion, when I think the votes are going to really matter. And I think you would agree it's going to be Election Day. If not this weekend and the day before are going to be the primary days, especially Election Day, that the votes are really going to count. And again, remember this. Look at this. Like I said, they have not said, out of all those 60-something, 70 million votes that have been cast, they have not come out and said who those people voted for. Have they? So let me know what you guys all think down below. Comment if you like, and I'll talk to y'all later.